Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And a lady that has been hugely popular over the last 12 months is Kathryn Mewes. She's the star of the series 3 Day Nanny, and she literally is changing people's lives. She's now turned that into an empire, and she's helping you sleep, be a great parent, eat, and even more. And I'm delighted to say she joins us on the phone again now. How are you, Kathryn?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. Sweltering, but really well.
Yeah, it's a lovely time of year. I was just reading the Mail online, and the first story that comes up is a mother who decided to go shopping yesterday whilst it was 32 degrees and leave her child in the car. Do you think that's a smart thing to do?
I can't believe you even need to ask me that, Alex. How just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I have a dog who I adore, and I would not even treat him like that, let alone a child. I'd be seriously asking her many questions about parenting if I ever met her.
What do you think is the biggest sin? Leaving a child in a car while you go shopping for 40 minutes in the first place, or doing it on the hottest day of the year? They're both pretty stupid, aren't they?
It's one of those stories that, your chin just hits the floor. You just can't actually quite believe that it has happened. I think leaving a child in a car isn't something you do anyway. I just don't think it's responsible at all. Just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know where she was coming from. Nipping in for a pint of milk because you've got nothing at home, that's one thing. But, in a shop, clearly buying clothing, I don't know where her brain was there.
One of the debates that's gone on today is the fact the police didn't charge her, that they literally gave her a telling off and sent her on her way. Do you think, and we're not going to talk about this case specifically, but do you think there's sort of come to a point where we should be testing people whether they're good enough parents? Because it's the one thing we can all have, a baby, without any training or any common sense. That
is a huge debate, isn't it? We could be on the phone all day. I mean, you need a license for a dog, but not a child. It is quite scary. I've seen many things where you don't want to turn a blind eye, but yes, not everybody out there is fit to be a parent, I think, and that is a big, bold statement to make, I know, but I don't think everybody has a right to be a parent.
We see in the news so often these stories of people who try their best, and we shouldn't be too damning of people because it is such an awful thing. And then you can add in postnatal depression, you can add in mental illness. There are many reasons why people may, in our view, be a bad parent. What is the fundamental thing that is the toughest? It seems to me, I don't have children, but the lack of sleep is one of the most important things that causes trouble.
It's two things, Alex. It's having support, and yes, of course, sleep. Sleep was once a form of torture, and deprivation of sleep was once a form of torture. So being deprived of sleep is hideous. But I think what's really hard about being a parent is if you don't have a support system. So if you're in a marriage where you're not happy, if you don't have family that can help you and you feel all alone, that makes parenting really hard. I think having a support network is so important when you have children.
It was interesting talking to you last time. You'd just become a mum, and I've read stuff since. I know it's been a tough time for you, and for you to come out and admit that as effectively the greatest nanny on earth must be tough. How are you as we sit here now? How is it being mum?
Do you want me to be honest? Of course you do. I absolutely love being a mum. She is my world, but I could not manage without my nanny.
Wow. That's extraordinary.
It is, and many people say it, but being a full-time mum, 24/7, with a husband who works very long hours and family who are far from on my doorstep, I would not manage happily. I'd have to, but I wouldn't be as happy as I am now if I didn't have my darling Grace 2 days a week, my nanny, to help me.
I can hear people screaming at the radio now saying, yes, but I can't afford a nanny, I don't have a nanny, I have to do it by myself. I guess, therefore, you have to have incredible compassion for those people, and you can understand fully how they may be struggling worse than even you did.
I know that having help is an absolute privilege, and whether you have to pay for that, or whether that's your mum comes 2 days a week, or whether that's your neighbour helps out with your child every Thursday so you can go to your aerobics class, whatever it is, I think having help is what keeps us going as parents. I really do believe that. And whether that is your partner is amazing and helps out with the kids, whatever it is, I would like to think that there are very few people out there, Alex, who are on their own parenting.
Why is it so difficult for you, and what are you getting from your nanny Grace that helps you get through the week in 2 parts? You said 2 days, so there's still 5 days you've got to cope. Why is that 2 days the key to you surviving as a mother?
I run my business, so I work. So I go off and service my own clients. But I feel I need a detachment from my daughter Harriet, and I need to break free from her and just be Kathryn Mewes for a few hours so that I can really appreciate her and do my utmost to be a great mum when I'm with her. So I feel I have to have the balance, and I always knew that. I always knew that for me, my life can't just be about being a mum. I have to always feel that I go out there and help others, and that's my job. And that's what I believe my calling is. I don't believe my calling is to be a full-time mum.
I did warm up for Loose Women for 2 years, and I can hear the likes of Janet Street Porter screaming down the radio now, why can't you just be a mother? Why do you need to be a businesswoman? Is it far more difficult than you ever thought it would be? And have there been moments where you've regretted it?
Oh, God, no. I've never for one moment regretted becoming a mother. Not at all. At the beginning, I was well and truly knocked off my feet, never realising it would be so hard, so lonely, so emotionally draining, and such a physical strain after giving birth. I never believed it would be so hard when that thing is so small and can't even move.
Yeah.
I think I had horrific moments when Harriet was very little, when she was days old. But never did I think, what have I done? I don't want her. Never once did I think that. But the feeling of loneliness, that's very destroying. And I think that's why I'm such an advocate for please ask for help. Yeah. I think that would be my advice to any and every parent. Whether you have to pay for it or whether you have to knock on your next door neighbour's door and ask for help, or whether you ring mum or ask your best friend, it doesn't have to be someone who takes your child down the park or comes and changes a few nappies. Just having that emotional support, that mental support for yourself, I think is so important, because I do think parenting is a lonely place.
Mm. And then we look at moving forward with it. Does it get easier as the baby gets older, or are the challenges greater when they start to walk and crawl and all that stuff? Because then it's a different type of compelling obsession you have to have with it to make sure it doesn't hurt itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the difficult stage is they're not a baby anymore. They can move around and destroy your house, but they can't express themselves verbally, and they can't tell you what they want. Hence, we get a lot of screaming, shouting and tantrums. I think getting through that stage is really hard, really hard. And I'm not yet in that zone, but I will not relish it. I think I'll relish the challenge, but the monotony of tantrums and the monotony of demands and removing them from things they shouldn't be near in your house, yes, that's going to be a hard time, an exhausting time.
I don't know how to say this without coming across as slightly vulgar. I've researched you enough to know you're an incredibly intelligent woman, you're an incredibly bright woman, a successful woman. Do you have sympathy for those who might be living in a council flat in Wigan who weren't blessed with your education and your upbringing, who can't cope and don't know how to find help? It seems to me, when I hear stories like yours from someone as brilliant as you are, that if you struggle to cope, people who are more disadvantaged, it's going to be even tougher for them. It's a really dark world, isn't it, when you get into that sort of frustration of coping?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. But I don't think I'm as judgmental to think if you live in Wigan in a council house, you're going to find parenting difficult. And I also don't believe you need a single academic qualification in order to make you a great parent. In many ways, it can do the absolute opposite. And I think the more you question life and the more knowledge you have, the harder parenting is. And I think gut instinct on how to raise a child can be in anybody, whether they've had a good education or not, whether they live in a council house, a caravan or a mansion. I think a good parent isn't about going off to university and getting a great degree. That doesn't make a great parent, not at all. I think it's someone who has patience, who knows how to nurture, who has a good support system, and has a great maternal instinct. And that can be in any of us, Alex.
Two of my best friends I took to dinner about 6 months ago, and they both confessed that they'd been to their doctor because they were struggling to cope. They both had 2 children, and they were both on antidepressants. Is this really the answer? Because I look at my grandma, and she didn't have that option, and she found a way through. I'm always nervous of medicating people to cope.
1 in 3 women are on antidepressants in our country because of the difficulty of labour, or how hard they've found parenting, or how they feel they have to suffer in silence. Whatever the reason, it's a major problem. And I think that's a whole different debate, because I dread to think how many people are in this country are dependent on drugs because that's all their doctor could offer them in connection with depression. I think there are ways out of depression, and that's why I think I'm ramming it home, Alex, that everyone needs a support system. Everyone needs a support system, and I don't think that the only support that will get you through is medication in a bottle.
Do the government need to do more? Do they need to offer more services to mums and to toddlers and babies?
I think in this country, mental health is an absolute taboo. We don't like to admit we need a counsellor. We don't like to admit we're finding life hard. And I think we need to be more open about it and more honest about it. I think that many people out there, I think actually, Alex, I think every single person in our country would benefit and enhance their life by having counselling. I think to stop and analyse your life from time to time and assess what you actually want and what your goals are and what your troubles are, and to talk things through, that's the best tonic. That's the best tonic. And I think drugs are a short-term fix. Counselling is a long-term fix. And if our government, my God, had enough money to actually have parents having counsel sessions as the norm, then I think we'd have a lot more happy parents, a lot more.
Do you think you'll have to continue using the nanny indefinitely to survive both professionally and as a mum? Is there any way of bringing that down, or do you want to try and do that, or do you think this is actually a good balance where you're able to work and you're able to be mum at the same time?
Yeah, I think every parent, I don't think I've ever met a woman who says she's got any working mother who says she's got a good balance. I think we're always juggling, and when I'm at work I feel guilty I should be with Harriet, and when I'm with Harriet and I cast my eye over my phone to check emails, I feel cripplingly guilty for doing so. I think the juggle is very, very hard, and I think that I am close to becoming a mum, and just a mum, for a little while until Harriet goes off to school.
Do you think you put too much pressure on yourself?
Of course I do. I'm a good parent. Every good parent does. Every good parent does. I don't think any good parent feels they're doing it all right. I think we all question whether we could do better. Should we do better? Am I giving them enough time? Oh gosh, are they watching too much television? Are they eating enough vegetables? Or crumbs, did they have their 5 a day? Am I reading with them enough? Should mine know the ABC? When do I start the violin? Oh my God, everyone else's child can swim, mine can't. It just goes on and on and on. And that's what's really, really exhausting. And that is, I wasn't prepared for it, Alex, and that is the emotional beat up that you give yourself as a parent every day. It's draining.
I was with my godson, who's just turned 7 on Saturday, and his mum said that, yes, they're very worried about his speech because his S's aren't quite right. I said, he's 7. He doesn't need to worry about that. Yes, but we're sending him on a course. And I'm very nervous that we continually keep competing for everybody to have the best child, and we can't all be geniuses, can we? I'm certainly not.
No, that is quite right. That is quite right. But it's that old phrase, Alex, a good parent just wants the best for their children. And I think we just want to do the best. We absolutely want to do the best for them, and if that means ensuring they speak well, so that they aren't bullied at school because they can't pronounce the letter S, it knocks their confidence. It makes them feel unsure of themselves. Too right. Send your child on that course if you can.
Do you think it's ever been tougher for women in terms of getting through the day, the challenges that you have to be professionally at the top of your game, as a mother at the top of your game, as a good partner, wife, girlfriend? There's a lot of stress. It's a tough time for women.
Yeah, but and men. I think my husband says to me, life is as complicated as you choose to make it, because I am someone who does question things an awful lot and probably makes things far more complicated than they need be. Yeah. But I think life is tough. It costs an awful lot to live in our country, to buy a home. Yeah. The education system isn't perfect. Our NHS system certainly isn't perfect. I think, yes, life is hard, but in many ways in our country, we're extremely blessed compared to a lot of other places where people live. Mm.
You're incredibly brave to talk so openly, and I thank you for it. I wish you all the best with the brand new series. The 3 Day Nanny returns to Channel 4 on the 27th of July, and it is marvellous. And I think you have a great warmth. That's the reason people took to you and like you so much. And good luck with all your other projects as well. I mean, you're helping everything from sleep to eating. Busy time for you. Congratulations, Kathryn. Lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.